Welcome back to the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. This is round 2. It's the Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally. And I tell you what, this has been one heck of a day so far. Lots of drama, lots of attrition on the stages, cars being collected, bits of car all over the place. The conditions absolutely atrocious. Can't tell you how cold, wet, windy and challenging it was this morning, even for us guys outside of the cars. So goodness knows what it was like for those crews out in the stages this morning, but very difficult to find the rhythm with short blasts to start the day. That 3-4 mile opening couple of stages now replaced by long, grueling, challenging stages, but at least stages that our competitors can get into a rhythm on. And there are quite some battles out there raging as we go into the second part of the day. I'm Paul Woodford. You're watching Special Stage Live, wherever you're tuning in, on Facebook, on YouTube, on specialstage.tv. We're delighted to have you with us. Thank you for getting involved this morning, despite the conditions, and they were some of the worst conditions we've had for some time. We had to sit here and realise we do one of the best jobs in the world telling the story of these fantastic events which are part of a real chapter in rallying history, the momentum building in the sport, some things still to iron out. But what a sport, and what a day so far. The biggest battle of the day is actually in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star Championship. You may remember when we left you earlier on at the end of stage 2, our competitors were just about to go into stage 5, weren't they? Just getting the first times from the end of stage 4. Well, Nigel Jenkins, Kaz Jenkins were leading the way at that point. That lead has swapped again like it did after stage 2 this morning. Steve Black, James Aldridge now back in the lead. The gap 4.1 seconds back to Nigel Jenkins, Kaz Jenkins. Dylan Fowler Bishop, Dan Evans watching this battle unfold up ahead, 24 seconds back. As you see Thomas Mill and Neil Jeffrey through in one of the MG3 challenge cars. Sound good, don't they? I said this morning. All the hallmarks of a great one-make series that so far got a few more out this season, 4 cars in total at this event, but hasn't really found its feet as much as it could have so far. So a really interesting battle raging at the head of the Bronze Star field at the moment then. Looking forward to seeing that one unfold. We're going to be live with you for the entire entry. Conditions permitting, you may be able to hear the whistling in the background. We haven't got a fireworks display for us here. The fireworks are all on the stages today. We're underneath a wind turbine, literally underneath a wind turbine. And I can't decide whether that's adding to the wind here in Wales or it's just the wind from Meher in Main. This monster stage, longest of the day. As you see, Barry Hughes, Stuart Borden, pushing hard and on for a good result in the historic cup here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. I'll give you an update on that very shortly. So 62 stage miles make up today's second round of the championship. And after we've been live through here, in fact, leapfrogging us in about an hour or so's time, Phil Bramwell will be live once again from Hafren Sweetland with action from the final stage of the day, Hafren Main. Another 13.3 miles to add to this, 15.6. So the majority of the mileage really in this second part of the day. And as I mentioned earlier, some short, sharp blasts to kick us off with earlier on. And here we are with some proper challenges now. Real mileage, real challenges for the crews to get their teeth stuck into. And we've just driven through the link part of the stage effectively between the stages that were done this morning. That creates this longer 15.6 mile stage here in Meher. And I've got to tell you, it is rough in places. It is cutting up, and that's before it's even been driven competitively. So it is going to be challenging out there. Martin Beach, Daniel James leading the way in the Rally First Cup at the moment. Alfie Hammond and Lewis Hooper having moved up out of the Rally First category, so leaving things to Martin Beach and Giles Armitage to battle it out for now. And a message from Damien Craig, who's watching, who said, "Can you shoot that bird making all that racket in the background?" I was going to make a joke. I got a look from producer Wayne that I should definitely not go there. So no, that is a wind turbine, not a bird. but there are quite a few people stood around us, also talking quite loudly. So I wondered if you perhaps meant them, but no, producer Wayne is definitely giving me a don't go there look, so I won't go there. We reached the end of the Rallynuts Severn Valley stages. And that will also signal a quarter distance in the championship. Next up, we go to the Brick and Steel Border Counties Rally on the 11th of May here in the BTRDA. The Kielder Forest Rally follows on the 15th of June. Nicky Grist stages, and indeed, Nicky Grist, the legend himself, appeared out of nowhere and joined us for an impromptu rally chat this morning, didn't he, during our live coverage of Stage 2, which was brilliant. Such a gentleman and legend of our sport. I absolutely loved. The first time I met Nicky was on the Nicky Grist stages a number of years ago now. It'll have been, I don't know, 2014, 15 maybe? No, maybe earlier than that, actually. And Nicky himself, with James Wozencroft, of course, former British Rally Championship driver, works driver for Suzuki, took us around the stages in his Audi Q5. I remember thinking, this is a pinch yourself run. Now he just rocks up and has a chat. Always meet your heroes in this sport, I've learned. Freddie Camp, Stephen Spear, not registered for BTRDA points, but we will be bringing you coverage of the entire field, not just the BTRDA, but the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series is where our story is this afternoon. That's the story we're going to be telling you. And if you're watching this coverage and thinking, how come there are some people missing off your coverage? How come you're not mentioning some of the cars on the leaderboard? That is because we are telling the story of the BTRDA. If you want the overall event results, we will give you a bit of a flavour, a bit of an update of the overall rally results. We go through the stages, but you can follow those results yourselves at results.djames.org.uk. Jeremy Wells, Martin Saunders there. They were 5th last year in the standings for the Historic Cup, looking to go at least one better, perhaps 2 or 3 or 4 better in 2024. Malcolm Wilson Rally seems a long way off now, and I'll tell you what, I dare say it was actually warmer there than it is here in Wales from round 2. The Rallynuts has always been a bit of a hit and miss when it comes to weather. Dave Peters, Andrew Richards, and this year I would say it's a bit of a miss, really, when it comes to the weather. But that's Welsh, proper Welsh rally weather, as Nicky pointed out earlier, isn't it? If you're just tuning in, welcome back to the Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally, round 2 of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Will Banks, Matthew Badley in that hard-charging, screaming Nova with their special rally mascot for this weekend, Dennis the Rally Dog, the Rally Dachshund, who I really want to take home. I'm taking a set of mini lights home, which I picked up for my Clan Crusader this weekend. My wife's going to be delighted about that. I had to come clean and send her a picture last night. She'd be genuinely delighted, though, if I were to mix things up and take Dennis the Rally Dog home with me, which I would quite happily do, because he is lovely. And obviously bringing those guys a fair bit of luck, because so far it's going well. 2nd in 1400C, 6th in the Bronze Star category so far for the Nova pair, Will Banks and Matthew Badley. What of our overall field then? Well, at the moment, Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere, after stage 4, we've got times for them through stage 5 yet. They've been making their way through there as we speak, but they lead the way, and it's quite an emphatic lead as well, 40 seconds or so ahead of Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh, who struggled a little bit this morning. We were surprised by the lack of pace, because we are used to seeing Elliot. We've seen him a few times go up against the British Rally Championship crews, and he does that with aplomb. Always use that word at least once. The Woodford Bingo is underway. Oh no, we said Clan Crusader already, haven't we? So the Woodford Bingo is already well underway. And Riff Raff, we said that earlier. Yeah, okay, so you can add aplomb to that. He usually doesn't struggle with keeping on pace with those guys. Wasn't quite on it today, not sure if he wasn't feeling it or the car wasn't set up quite right, the conditions were a little too difficult for him, but didn't seem to find it as natural, and was, you saw earlier in stage 2 where we were filming, and Nicky Grist mentioned this, he was trying too hard to position the car to carry his speed through. It wasn't a natural process. He didn't look like he was enjoying that stage. So let's see how he gets on in these big flowing stages this afternoon. 2nd place at the moment. is a good way to start proceedings, and of course adding to a maximum score. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link, third place so far, B13 leaders as well. Daniel Sigurdsson, Asta Sigurdsdottir in fourth, and there is the second of the rally first 2-litre cars. Giles Armitage, Josh Rhodes. Tell you what, that car takes some stick. Just keeps going. Proof, if we needed it, and we don't, that a Peugeot 205 GTI is very much a rally car, born and bred. Don't see many of them anymore, do you? That's because when they were rallying back in the day, and we'll talk about the Peugeot 205 Challenge briefly later with this initiative that Ricky Evans, former BTRDA champion, has got for making some money for dementia charities with a throwback to Richard Burns and some special t-shirts that you'll be able to get your hands on very soon. We'll talk about that later, but 205 GTIs used to be able to pick parts up for them, mirrors, wings, things like that, for a few quid in the scrapyard. Not so anymore. Talking to Aaron McClure actually about his Group A car. He's decided he's keeping, so we'll look forward to seeing that back out in the RAC next year. Tell you what, Matthew Evans, Daniel Evans, if there was a better time to nail down what I just said about Peugeot 205s, that was probably it. Absolutely threw that into this left-hander up the hill. I don't know if you remember, but we filmed here last time. This time we've elevated our view, you could say. We have our drone up in the air as well, so you'll see some shots of that in our special stage rally show, which comes your way every first Friday of the month on specialstage.tv. It's in association with the Mini Rally Challenge. We're delighted to be bringing you a show packed full of highlights from rallies around the UK once again every first Friday of the month. The last one had in it BTRDA, British Rally Championship, the Welsh Rally Championship, the Irish Tarmac Championship. This one coming up will have BTRDA, Asphalt Championship, Circuit Rally Championship. It's just rallying from all angles, and the Irish Tarmac Championship will feature as well in the next show. But you can check out the 2 previous episodes so far, and the opening round of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, the Legend Fires Northwest Stages, features in that second episode, which aired last week, and you can watch that right now at specialstage.tv. Do give it a watch, because wow, was that a spectacle, particularly starting with that town centre start in Garstang and moving through to some absolutely blinding stages and some cracking action all day long. Same story for this weekend. We started with a ceremonial start in the town. This time it was Llandryn Dodwells at the Metropole Hotel and Spa, where the Severn Valley Rally used to start. Celebrating its 50th year this year, and if you just consider how much work, how much heart and soul from volunteers, from talented officials and hard-working marshals and setup crews and local authorities and everybody else behind putting these events together, just imagine how much work has gone in over the years to string together 50 years of this rally. We're proud to have played our part. Rallynuts are into their 8th consecutive year of supporting the event with their headline sponsorship above the door. And you've got to say, with the momentum in British rallying at the moment, it's a great time to be celebrating the 50th year with added mileage, a ceremonial town start, and visiting some of the old haunts that made this rally so special over the years. And there have been plenty of those in the rally over the years as well. The Christmas Mini, as I've come to call it. Laura Christmas driving this time. Last time I saw them, Duncan was driving. Duncan in the co-driver's seat this time. Laura doing a great job of hustling that little Mini around these stages. And as I mentioned, the stages are rough in places, particularly the link pieces that haven't been used so far competitively today that they've just done on their way to completing this 15.6 mile monster through Mahare in Maine. The special stages on the gravel these days in the UK, not necessarily a comfortable stomping ground for a historic Mini, but for one that's well prepared and driven properly. Great fun, and I should imagine very rewarding inside there as well. Actually, Laura's very first gravel rally. She's driven, as a driver that is, she's driven a few single venues. She's done Clacton, closed road rallies, but never a gravel rally. And today, just got that monkey up her back, so to speak, and done a great job so far. As of that crew, Paddy Homan, Sam Spencer, Tom Homan posted on our coverage earlier how gutted he was not to be out in that Puma. Paddy and Sam have been going well. The time's just coming through. If you want to follow the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series leaderboard, you need to go to btrdarallyresults.co.uk. The time's pretty much all through now from that stage. The variety in 1400C is brilliant. Dylan Fowler-Bishop heading things up in the micro. As you see, Chris Greenall, James Greenall alongside. Love the shot from Eastwood Media, our drone team at the start of the first days this morning, spinning their wheels off the line in that point. They've been having a good day so far. 5th in 1400S, 8th in the Bronze Star overall in that Nova. But I mentioned Paddy Homan and Sam Spencer, they're just behind. 6th in 1400S, 9th in the overall Bronze Star leaderboard. That's William Maines. Thomas Whittle alongside in the Corsa, not registered for BTRDA points, so that will explain why from time to time we're mentioning crews, or as the case may be, not mentioning crews who are on the stage. As far as the leaderboard is concerned, our story today, our narrative is with the BTRDA, the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. If you want to follow the Welsh Rally Championship story, you can do that with Phil Bramwell. He'll be live again in stage 7, which comes your way in around about half an hour's time. Nicely done there. Nicely done there from Ashley Francis Adams. Mark Ammons setting that micro up well, carrying their speed into there, and you can see them just scrabbling under braking and getting the car and gathered up to throw into the left-hander up the hill to get it straightened up, ready for the bridge. We have seen in the past crews not necessarily whacking the bridge, but we have seen them just catching and struggling a little bit. Going up the hill here, it's a tricky bit of stage. Apologies again for the whistling behind me. It's not, as a few have pointed out, birds squawking, nor is it spectators squawking for that matter. It is a wind turbine. My wife actually thought there was a firework display going on behind us. Not so. Ian Beveridge, Paul Price in the Toyota Corolla TE27. Mentioned this earlier on, but Ian actually won the Severn Valley Rally outright. An MG Metro 6R4 in 1987. Yeah. Period, of course, when Metro 6R4s were still current cars, and must have been exciting to see those cars out on these stages, as it has been when we've seen them out since. Good to see Ian still out, still supporting the event, and we see him in that beautiful Corolla on a number of the historic rounds, including the Roger Albert Clark. So joy to see something different. Driven well, always works the part as well. Pete Tainton, Lewis Sim, equally well prepared, H1, H2 Escort. We lost Chris Bush from the 1400S battle before the rally even started this morning. His engine went before the start in the little white Corsa, so absolutely gutted not to be having that Corsa in the battle here. But not as gutted as Chris and co-driver Robert Brennan will be. I saw the car at Bilthwells at the Royal Welsh Showground last night, so they did make it here, so it's an awful long way to go to have the bitter disappointment of retiring before the rally's even started. Tom Constantine, Tony Walker there in the MG3. Although it's not a BTRDA registered category, the Peugeot 208 Cup that features in the BRC this year. Saw some drama in that last stage that we were filming in, stage 2, right at the end of it. Young Callum Graffin, Richard Crozier alongside, rolling the Peugeot 208 end over end, making a real mess of it. Luckily, crew okay. We drove past that wreckage on the way out of the stage, and they will be going no further today. Caught with Dad Kieran, who was waiting at the end of the stage for the guys to get recovered. We also lost Vivian Hamill in the Polo R5, in which he took a second place finish at the opening round of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship just a few weeks ago in the Lake District at the Malcolm Wilson Rally. Putting the car on its roof, talking to Fergal Kelly, Irish photographer who's over here following the Irish crews just now. Apparently it was a very slow roll. Just a silly mistake that went wrong, but not a whole damage done. Just a frustrating end to the day, but they got those second place points in the bag in the first round, so there are many who are coming here having retired at the first round looking to get some points on the board. Viv Hamill is not one of those. Nevertheless, started the day with a roll. Philip Harris, Derek Davies in the Escort. Dale Glover and David Smalley, you'll see that Alfa Romeo Alfa Sud through very shortly. They've been going well. Dare I say it, we've still got a fair amount of mileage to go, haven't we? Nearly 30 miles left of this rally across these two last stages through Meherin, Maine, joining up the stages from earlier that you see here, and Haffron, Maine, where you'll see the joining up of the stages that you saw Phil Bramwell on for the Welsh Championship later on in about 20 minutes time. Phil will be live. But I don't want to give Dale any kind of presenter's curse. He's already accused me of that. I just think Chris Squires and Sean Hughes through in the Escort. I don't want to give anyone presenter's curse, but so far so good, I would say, for the Alfa Sud. Dale was 5th in the overall Bronze Star leaderboard coming into this, 4th in 1400S. Such is the dominance of that class, as you'd probably expect from 1400S. Don't forget, we will be giving away one of those exclusive Rally TV t-shirts provided by Rallying is Life. If you want, and we often get asked for special stage merchandise, that's where you get it. Rallying is Life. Search on Facebook for their page, or search for them online and you'll find their Etsy store. Of all the cars that has looked like it's been the most fun to drive today, Matt Brown, Tom Jordan in that Avenger probably take the prize. Producer Wayne is smiling a look of agreement, I think that is. He does smile, honestly, just not when you point a camera at him. But when he sees an Avenger going as sideways as that Avenger tends to go, he tends to smile. It just looks like they've had so much fun inside that car. Having driven an Avenger recently on the Great British Car Share for our Rally Heroes series that I did with Sarah Crabtree not so long ago with the Great British Car Journey. You can still watch that if you search for the Great British Car Journey on YouTube. We did a feature on Avengers and indeed Sunbeams, and having driven one and buried my head, as I love to do, in the history and the kind of provenance of the Avenger and its rally credentials and history, I really want to have a go in one. And more than that, goodness me, an Avenger GT came up recently. I was sorely tempted. An Avenger Tiger would actually do it for me, I think. Very much the Howell Davis, Sean Rowlands, very much the Avenger, the Escort challenger of its time, just never quite got the works programme match, really, did it? But we're seeing more and more of them out, which is brilliant. We talk, or I talk particularly, so much about variety, and we have so much of it here today on the Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally. And as if to prove my point, the second of the Avengers just bursts into, it's the Alpha Stud actually bursts into view. Sorry, I just glanced up and we lost the other Avenger. There's the Alpha Stud. As I mentioned earlier, sounds amazing, looks glorious with those wide arches and that very simple cloverleaf double stripe going over the car. But proved my point perfectly with variety. Escort, Avenger, Alpha Sud, Nova, Micro, Historic Mini, Mark 1 Escort, Peugeot 205 GTI, Ford Puma, Vauxhall Corsa, Suzuki Swift, Toyota Corolla TE27. That is just in the 1400s in a historic field, which we're watching now in reverse seated order, by the way. We'll have the main field for you with a very short round. I'm not even going to go for the new screen, it's that short in between. There you have your Bronze Star leaders at this point. The lead, 4.1 seconds coming into this 6th stage through Meherin, Maine. That's Steve Black. James Aldridge alongside 2021 BTRDA Bronze Star champion, and the car which took victory at the opening round of the series in hands of Steve's son Callum Black, who with Jack Morton was challenging for British Rally Championship glory today in the Palace Connections Rally 2 Fiesta, the black and gold car. Unfortunately, they are going further. I did see a picture on Callum's Instagram on his story of the car with the bonnet up, with a rallying and a sad, pained face, smiley emoji. But Callum does have some good points on the board, having taken victory in the Bronze Star at the opening round in that very Suzuki Swift you saw just there. So should he decide, and we've seen this before, haven't we? People keeping their options open as far as championship campaigns are concerned at the start of the year, and then changing tags, and you might just see that from Callum. Dylan Fowler-Bishop, Dan Evans, 3rd place in the Bronze Star, leading 1400C car so far, going extremely well here. They come here 3rd place in the Bronze Star standings from last year, looking to defend that podium, but they won 1400C, came 3rd in the Bronze Star last year here at Rally, but surely they're going to want to go one better, particularly as they came 3rd at the opening round as well in the Bronze Star. 3rd place suits them well, but I'm sure they'd like to try on 2nd place for size and maybe even a category victory as well. But for now, the category victory looks like being a fight between this green Nova you see ahead of you, coming down into the last part of the stage. But it's about halfway through where we are now. This 15.6 mile monster stage through Meherin. The category victory does look like it being a fight between that green Nova. Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, the Enjo Auto Repairs, are the reigning Bronze Star champions and the former Bronze Star champions in the Suzuki Swift you saw just a couple of cars ago. Steve Black, James Aldridge. Unless anybody was out of position on the road, that will be it for our 1400s and our historics. We'll have a short gap and then our 4-wheel drive crews will be through. Now we have got some times on stage 5, and just as we speak, I'm hoping Neil Cross, our BTRDA Championship Coordinator, can help me with some of the results, because I can't tell you how cold it is here, but we would like to know how that's going. Elliot Payne has actually tuned in on the coverage, which hopefully means he's finished the stage and is looking forward to this 6th stage and he's waiting in the queue. But having had a bit of a struggle today as far as the pace is concerned on the overall results. It was 2nd place, 42nd behind reigning Welsh champions Matt Hurst and Declan Deere, looking to finally get some good luck to go with the pace that we've seen from them in the BTRDA and take the BTRDA Gold Star title. But Elliot Payne, wanting to make it 3 on the trot, is already a record-breaking young rally star. 2 on the bounce here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Youngest ever Gold Star champion. Such an experienced and mature head on young shoulders. We saw him in that Mango Go Fiesta Rally 2. He's now in the sister branded car from Global Brands, the Amigos Tequila Flavored Beer, which, by the way, is fantastic. Obviously, drink sensibly and all those warnings, but we were lucky enough to be sponsored by those guys on the RAC as well for our live coverage. And it's great to see Steve Perez, whose son, of course, Seb Perez, leading the Historics in the British, or is he leading? He's not battling for lead anyway, isn't he? In the British Historics today in the Porsche Carrera RS with sister Amigos sponsorship. It's great to see Steve still behind rallying, having been a champion in this series and a big supporter and formidable competitor in it for many years. Someone we really do miss seeing out on the stages. So I'm just going to check. If you want to do this, you're going to have to cross-reference to explain. I did explain this earlier, and Nicky Grist backed me up on this, which I was pleased about. I thought I was maybe getting a little bit too over the top, but I'm getting too bogged down with it. But yeah, there are 3 different events today, effectively. Not 3 different championships doing one event, but 3 different events. So you've got 3 different permits, which restricts competitors for entering officially more than one championship. So although championship points will be awarded to Elliot Payne for the BTRDA, because he didn't do the Raggy, and with the pace that he has and the available DVD/pre-written pace notes, you might argue that was a sensible compromise, albeit Nicky Grist did say he probably lost 10% of his pace by not doing the recce. It's hard to know which way to go on that one, but because he didn't do the recce, he does score points in the BTRDA, but he doesn't appear on the leaderboard, so you're going to have to compare between his times and the times on our BTRDA leaderboard, which is quite frustrating, and we need to do better at this as a sport. It's not very accessible, not very easy to understand what's going on for people watching from the outside, having to look at 3 different leaderboards with people who cross over but only appear on one. It's not how we inspire and entertain, in my opinion. Rallying needs to do a little better than that, but it is what we have today, and we're here to do that for you and tell the story. So as I'm talking, I will update you on where Elliot Payne drops in. 33.39 his overall time. Still taking a bit of time back from Hurst, but only a handful of seconds. This is a nice long stage for him to get his teeth into in that Amigos Rally 2 Fiesta though. 2nd place, Elliot Payne. Patrick Walsh. Patrick is an experienced pair of hands, somebody you definitely want alongside you if you've got a tricky rally to navigate and a championship, 2 championships to fight for. And it's not his first rodeo. He's been in these positions many a time, winning championships from the British Rally Championship down. So Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer lead the way. A startling performance from that pair today, and they needed to do that. The first round was not kind to them. The pace was there. The drive shaft fell off the car. And it fell off where we were, actually, in the opening stages. And they fought back to 10th, but needed a maximum score on the board to set their campaign alight. And they've done that to date so far. Half the mileage almost to go, and a lot of things can happen in that time and in that mileage, but the perfect start for Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer. A comfortable, if not watertight lead from reigning champ Elliot Payne, with Patrick Walsh alongside for this season. Ross Thompson, Stephen Link, another impressive performance from them in the B13 Evo to be 3rd place overall in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship Cruise. Daniel Sigurdarsson, Asta Sigurdottir getting very much to grips with that B14 Rally 2 Fiesta in 4th place. And Gunnar Carl Johansson, Isaac Gudjonsson in their B14 Fiesta, again getting to grips with it very well, only 14 or so seconds back from fellow Icelandic drivers. In 5th place, Liam Clark, Emily Easton Page, again stepping up from the R2 Fiesta, indeed winning the R2 Rally Cup and jumping into this Rally 2 Fiesta, this B14 car, is no mean feat. Don't underestimate that. We chatted to Nikki Grist earlier about how difficult, in reality, that jump up is. You know, everything's different, more pace, 4-wheel drive, different car dynamics, stiffer opposition, perhaps faster opposition, definitely. It all plays into quite a difficult transition to get used to, but doing a cracking job. In 6th place at the moment in our overall BTRDA crews. Scott Beattie, 7th. Steve Black, James Aldridge, currently 8th place. This is after stage 5. Sinai, the second running of that 4-mile blast that we were in this morning. Sorry, that we followed this morning. We weren't in that one, were we? This stage is part of the stage we're in this morning. Is part of this 15.6 miler here in Meherrin, Maine, that we find ourselves bringing you the action from now in the penultimate stage of the day. But Steve Black, Nigel Jenkins at the moment showing in the top 10 after stage 5. Obviously some times still to go and to clock in on the 5th stage, but just showing the pace across the fields and various categories in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Jonathan Brace leading the way in our historic crews in the Historic Cup here in the BTRDA. Rob Dennis, 2nd place at the moment. Lewis Hooper, after that disappointing early retirement with the electronic throttle problems on the R2 Fiesta, leading the R2 Rally Cup. Sam Mason, a little way behind, having made hay while the sun shone at round 1 and got some points on the board with that retirement for Lewis Hooper. Andy Davison leading our Silver Star crews at this point, as well as the B12 class. Tom Murphy alongside. And Martin Beach still leading the way in that battle for the rally first positions to Giles Armitage. As you see the first into this stage. Oshan Price leading the way. A strategic move from Chris Ingram and Alex Chiarani, having had a chat to Nikki Grist about the best position for them to start on the road. Meant that they dropped back on the road, leaving this man to lead the way, sweep the way, shall we say, as we say in rallying so often. There are parts of this stage that do need sweeping because parts of it haven't been used this morning. But you have to say, doing a good job of sweeping the way, because he comes into this 6th stage of the day 14 seconds clear of round 1 British Rally Championship winner Chris Ingram in the Castrol Polo. It was William Crichton taking the fastest stage time, though, by 2 seconds almost from Keith Cloning. Oshan was 3rd, but crucially ahead of Ingram through that 5th stage, the one before this one. But you can see, can't you, that man, William Crichton, is on a charge. Liam Regan alongside, last year Rally 3 WRC champions, effectively junior WRC champions, stepping up to the Rally 2 Fiesta, showing that they've got what it takes to fight at the top here in British rallying as well. The first of our Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship competitors. 3 cars further back on the road. Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh, look out for that Amigos Tequila beer sponsored Rally 2 Fiesta. That is the first of our BTRDA crews. But for now, here's another British Rally Championship crew before we await our Protyre BTRDA field into this 6th stage of the day, for the battle at round 2. So the BTRDA title continues. Talking of which, there is a former 2020, was it 2021, isn't it, Wayne? BTRDA Gold Star champion, Gary Pearson. Those few years there just sort of blur into one. 2021, Gary Pearson and Niall Burns were Protyre BTRDA Rally champions. They also became Scottish champions and Welsh champions all in that year, doing the triple, and now they're going for the British Rally Championship. But fantastic to see Gary with Daniel Barrett alongside for this campaign this season, fighting for BRC honours. We'd like to see him back in the BTRDA, but I suppose with that one under his belt, I'd like to add the BRC to his CV, and who could blame him? Hello to Bonnie Papa, gutted not to be in with Colin Minton for this round, but enjoying tuning in for the coverage nonetheless. We should have got you out as a pundit, Bonnie. Looking forward to seeing you on home turf in the Isle of Man very soon. There is a man on a charge, 2019 European Rally champion, a man who is awaiting his new car. That new car feeling when you're just waiting for it to be delivered. Well, Chris has got that, but times it by about 10, because his new car is a Rally 2 Yaris, and it'll be run by the Melvin Evans Motorsport team. It'll be one of 3 when it arrives, in addition to Myron Evans and Jonathan Jackson that you already see out there. But for now, Chris with Alex Chiarani alongside. American champion, co-driver, who was looking forward very much to these stages when I chatted to him at the ceremonial start last night in that Polo R5 that Melvin Evans Motorsport have got developed and set up really well for these stages and for these rallies. So I should imagine there'll be a part of Chris, and Nicky Chris mentioned this too earlier to us, didn't he? There'll be a part of Chris that will be not looking forward to jumping out of that Polo because he'll be used to it by then. And it wouldn't rule out him not actually getting in the Yaris this season if he feels very comfortable and then does a test and the Yaris isn't quite up to spec development-wise. But at the moment, Chris is trailing Marshall Price on home turf, who was very excited to be on home turf. There's a man who is quite far from home, and having had a rotten start to his British Rally Championship year, is having a similarly rotten day today as well. Wasn't going too badly coming into this 4th place, but he has stopped to change the puncture, right rear puncture on that Irish Rally 2 Fiesta. Next up should be our reigning Protyre BTRDA Rally champion, Elliot Payne. The unmistakable, not quite as blinding, but certainly unmistakable livery of the Amigos sponsorship, not quite as in your face as the Mango Go colour scheme from last year of his championship winning campaign, but a great colour scheme that reminds me of that Perez Stratos from the RAC, and probably will always do now. Elliot couldn't quite find, as I mentioned earlier, couldn't quite find his feet earlier pace-wise. We were surprised to see him a little way back. But such is the pace, both in the BRC, but also there at the head of the both the Protyre BTRDA and the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship fields, just in a bit of a league of their own today. So 40 seconds was the gap. Leading the way in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship, and I'm just working out now they would currently be in 7th place, ahead of the Rally 2 Toyota Yaris of Myron Evans and Jonathan Jackson, with Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere if they were registered for BRC points. As it stands, they really want this Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship title, and they've fought hard today to keep Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh behind them. as they string together a campaign that they hope will see them as BTRDA champs at the end of 2024. I think we've got an exciting battle and certainly an interesting story to be telling you this season. We'll be a quarter of the way through that when we get to the end of the Rallynuts Severn Valley stages. Doesn't that Rally 2 Toyota Yaris sound naughty? One of the best sounding turbo four-wheel drive cars since the WRC era, if you ask me. And of course, it's a 3-cylinder turbo. Yaris GR road car, first 3-cylinder Rally 2 car. Sounds good, certainly goes well, and given it's 2 rallies in, and really it's done 1 rally on tarmac and 1 rally on gravel, you have to say, as Nicky Grist echoed earlier, there's a lot to come, but I'll tell you what, this man is absolutely on it. He's on the limit coming down, slotting the orange amplifiers with the I-20 Rally 2 between the gate posts there. And he barely let off the throttle. Getting the car around the corner there. James Williams not registered for points in the BTRDA, but one of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship contenders this year. Very serious one at that. He sits 5th overall in the rally at the moment. So let's just have a look. We should be getting some of the first times through. No times yet for the four-wheel drive field. This 6th stage, of course, they have still got roughly half the stage mileage to go when they get to this point. A selection of historics and 1400s posting time so far from the end of this 15.6 mile Meherin main stage. Ian Windrus in that pretty much home-built R5, certainly home-developed R5 Proton Iris, with its livery design. Was it designed by school children as part of a competition, Wayne, or was it a family?
An artist.
It's an artist. It's a child, isn't it? Okay, apologies. I did think a child had designed the car. I thought it was a competition of some kind. I'll be getting a message off Ollie when he gets back and sees that. Maybe I'll get a message from the artist before that. It's a very nice piece of artwork. I like it a lot. It was bad luck for Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams yet again this morning. The car stopping the style of the rally. Not much luck for them in that new Hyundai. But there is a UK debut for not only the new Skoda Fabia RS Rally 2, but also for Jos Verstappen, former F1 driver, father of F1 champion Max Verstappen, of course. First time on British soil as Keith Cronin, Mikey Garvin get the puncture changed. And now you can hear just driving their way through the stage. They'll get back into things, but for now they're just going to be seeping with frustration. Yeah, Jos Verstappen in that Verstappen Motorsport Red Bull sponsored car. He's doing his first rally on UK soil and his first gravel rally as well here in the BRC at the Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages rally. Rory Young, Alan Callers alongside in the Polo Rally 2. Jos Verstappen just outside the top 10 in the BRC at the moment, behind Ollie Millers in that Proton Iris i5 that you saw before that. Rhys Yates ahead of him in 9th, and then Elliot Payne in 8th place behind that Rally 2 Yaris of Myron Evans. comes. Sorry, radio silence there. The wind is an interesting challenge today, shall we say, and apologies again for the whistling behind me. It's not a firework display, it's not a flock of seagulls or whatever else Damien Craig said he thought it was. It is a wind turbine. That was Scott Beattie with Perida Davies alongside in the Fiesta R5. They came 4th overall on the Rallynuts Stages Rally last year. They were 5th in the BTRDA, the Protyre BTRDA Gold Star last time out on the Malcolm Wilson Rally as well. And that's Roger Hodinius, Robin Buzzimans in the sister Fabia RS Rally 2 to Jos Verstappen's that you saw through a little earlier. Apparently a friend and teammate of Jos on the Belgian Tarmac Championship rounds. British soil, quite literally British soil, and well, let's call it a baptism of fire, shall we? Character building, however you want to look at it, it has been a day for bravery, but also a day for sensible risk-taking, I think. And there's a man who knows all about that. When Russ Thompson and Stephen Link, Randy Murphy as it was back then, co-driving for him, first appeared on the scene in an Evo in the BTRDA. He was leery. He would win or crash, and he'd win with his pants on fire. He'd take out chunks of the car on trees, hobble back to the finish on 3 wheels. But you know what? There's a sensible head on those shoulders to go with the speed and the experience that he's built up now, and that B13 Evo is surely not far away. Well, he's had an overall win recently, but he's surely not far away from a serious result here in the championship, even with the lack of power compared to the cars around him. But right now, 3rd place coming into this stage, battling with a Fiesta R5 ahead, Fiesta Rally 2 behind. Picking up to impress. That is the car between Daniel Sigarson and Aston Stigadottir. The Icelandic duo who came back to the UK last year, having last rallied here in 2011. No stranger to this event, albeit the last time. Sorry, not the last time, because they were here last year. Before last year, the last time they were here was in 2009 when they came 8th overall in an Evo. Last year, in that B13 Evo, they were 4th in B13, 15th overall. They took 9th overall at the opening round, though, in this Rally 2 Fiesta, which they have taken no time at all to get used to. A bit of a Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer story brewing there, because it's the same for that pair. Pushing as hard as they could in the Evo, stepping into that Fiesta R5, and immediately the pace was there. Oh, Rob Wilson bouncing his way on the bridge. Going up the hill there. Martin Haggett got a very good look at those gate posts on the either side of that bridge parapet. Don't want to be getting out of shape up there. Rob featuring in the already Welsh Rally Championship this season with his Ravenel branded Mitsubishi. And as we speak, Phil Bramhill is live in the final stage of the day. Or should be. I got a look from producer Wayne. Should be live. We'll be ready to go live in the last. It was 4 o'clock. He was scheduled to go live. You can leapfrog between the 2 championships, the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series and the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship. Brummel has the action from that to round out your afternoon. No, not live just yet. We'll be live soon, I promise. And then you've got live rally TV to entertain you all afternoon. We're going to be live when you think about it, right the way through until between 5 and 6 o'clock for our stage, and probably past 7 o'clock for Phil's final stage of the day in Sweet Lamb, Hafren, Maine. So it really has been a packed full day of live rally TV here on the special stage. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed having you along. That is for certain. We'll get to some of your comments shortly, because we want to involve you guys as much as possible in this coverage. And the reason we want to do that is because we do this for you and because of you. If it wasn't for your support, we wouldn't do it. Our sponsors wouldn't want us to do this. So by commenting on this video, you are entered into the draw for t-shirts. Liam Clark and Emily Easton Page in the Rally 2 Fiesta, stepping up to B14 from the R2 Rally Cup last year. They came second overall in the championship standings. They started their campaign with an 11th overall gold star finish. And they're on, at the moment, for a 6th place overall finish in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship Gold Star title hunt. Not bad going, that, is it? Stepping up from a Rally 2 Fiesta, an R2 Fiesta last season to the two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, 1600 to non-turbo to the Rally 2 WRC spec machinery that you see there, albeit with the bigger restrictor, 34mm restrictor. Dean Roskell cheering on Neil Roskell, as Di Roberts alongside him for a campaign in the BRC here on the gravel. One of our Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship contenders, and a man who hasn't done that many rallies on gravel at all. Was it 3 coming into this? Neil Bannister, late entry, going well with that familiar banner stripe down the middle, just like Steve in his white Escort. Time through for stage 6 then. And Chris Ingram in the overall rally leaderboard has dropped back to 3rd now. Talking of Neil Roskell, started rallying in 2019 in a B13 Subaru, won the Circuit Rally Championship, and really impressed since then. Came runner-up last year in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship in that ND Civils car. Switched halfway through last season into the Rally 2 car from the R5 he had before. I think it was the Manx where he switched into that car, and he may have also seen the viral video from the Greystoke stages, Grisdale stages, sorry, last year, a week after the RAC in December, where the Rally 2 Fiesta was on duty pulling service vehicles out of the service park in the snow. He then did his prop shaft at the first rally of the season. So make of that what you will, as you see Carl White and Sean topping through. So Oshan Price still in the lead of the overall rally. William Crichton now stepping up into 2nd place. Chris Ingram slipping back 13 seconds almost behind Crichton. 26.8 off the lead. James Williams into 4th. 56 seconds though off the podium positions as things stand. Keith Cronin obviously dropping right down the order, resulting in and impacting on some of those positions on the overall leaderboard. Elliot Payne posting a time good enough for 7th overall through that stage. Let's just have a look. So Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer still pulling out a few seconds more through this stage. Another 2 or so seconds, in fact. So Hurst and Deer making a real point here at the second round of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series. This is the Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally. If you just tuned in, it is the 50th anniversary of this event. As a result, the rally has thrown on a bigger party. More stage mileage, 62, 17 more than last year to be exact. And it's the Metropole Hotel. Bendard Wells won. As you see, John Rintoul, Ross Hine through in their Fiesta R5, not registered for BTRDA points. So yeah, Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh dropping still into 2nd place here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer leading the way. At the moment, no times beyond that. We just saw through. As you see, Joe Price and Chris Brooks pushing on in their Mark II. The second round of the championship here sees our Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship crews mixing ranks with the British Rally Championship, the British Historic Rally Championship, the Welsh Rally Championship, and a number of local and regional championships as well here on these iconic Welsh stages. I'll tell you what, it looks a lot more friendly on your screen, doesn't it? Blue skies, no mist. There was still quite a lot of fog when we arrived in this location, actually. About half an hour before the stage, we were wondering if it would clear, and the rain was coming down heavily. The rain has stopped. It's still bitterly cold, and that wind is biting, but pleased to say that it is a little bit more friendly than it was earlier. On a charge today, another man with, I'd say, a point to prove. He seems to prove those points very easily these days. I'll tell you what, that hard-charging escort, just looking at the British Historic Rally Championship leaderboard of Joe Price and Chris Brooks that we just saw through, is 0.2 of a second ahead of that Amigos Porsche 911 Carrera RS of Seb Perez and Gary McElhaney. It's 0.2 of a second. The battle very much on there. Mark Higgins, Phil Pugh in the David Appleby Engineering TR7 V8 in 3rd place, just 15 seconds back from that pair battling up ahead. And unlike racing, where you lose time if you're battling with the car alongside you, in rallying that tends to make you go faster because you're against the clock and you're chasing an invisible marker man. Think of it as a ghost. If you play rally games on computer games, it makes you go faster. So this man, Mark Higgins, Phil Pugh alongside, we just want to get a finish under his belt in that TR7 V8. It's a car very much still in development. It's a long time since people were building works spec. In fact, the last time anyone did it, it was John Davenport, wasn't it? Works spec, TR7 V8s. And that car very much built to exacting standards, like the works cars. Always draws a crowd. And I can't think of a better combination for the reintroduction of a work spec car like the TR7 V8 than starting with 2019 European Rally champion Chris Ingram and then switching to 3-time British Rally champion, an absolute legend, Mark Higgins. James Bond stuntman. James Bond never drove a car quite as cool as that V8 engined TR7 V8, did he? Adrian Hetherington, Ronan O'Neill, who got their windscreen wipers sorted out now. Just as they don't need them anymore, typically. That's the way it goes. So Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer lead the way here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. 42 seconds ahead of Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link, as ever, an impressive and mature performance from that pair, in the B13 class and in third overall. Daniel Sigurdsson, Asta Sigurdottir in fourth at the moment, getting used to that B14 Rally 2 Fiesta very quickly indeed. As you see, Yorkshireman Daniel Mennel, Richard Wise alongside, no doubt a bag or two of wine gums stuffed into the co-driver's pocket of that Mark II Escort to ply the marshals and the media crew with at the end of the stage. Okay, a pair that really enjoyed their rallying and absolutely loved the ceremonial start last night in Llandrindod Wells, as they rightly should have done, as we all did. That's something we need more of. We could just then iron out how confusing these different permitted events and results are to the outside world when following rallies. We're about there, because the momentum is definitely building, as I said a few times today in British rallying. Patrick Naylor, Ian Lawrence, long-standing and fierce competitors here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Took a few years out and have come back with that B13 Evo. They were 8th overall in the BTRDA leaderboard coming into this stage. Second of the B13 crews. A fair way back from Russ Thompson. And a fairly comfortable margin between them and Peter Bayliss and Paul Godden in the Mitsubishi Evo 9 behind them. Andy Davison leads the way in the Silver Star. Nigel Jenkins is now in a real chasing position after 6 stages. Kaz Jenkins alongside our reigning champions. It could be another second place to that same Suzuki Swift they missed out on victory because of at the opening round, as you see. Stephen Woe, BTRDA, former BTRDA champion co-driver Carl Williamson alongside. 8 years since they won the title, he and Charlie Payne. First time we saw the Amigos branding on a rally car. Here they are in the Fiesta Rally 3, popping and banging. One of the best sounding rally cars at the moment with its 3-cylinder engine, like you find in the Fiesta ST road cars and the Puma ST road cars. Yeah, that Suzuki Swift managed to take maximum points in the bronze start to start the season, albeit with Callum Black, Jack Morton alongside, who came here in the Palace Connections Fiesta Rally 2, and unfortunately for them have had to retire from the overall rally leaderboard, leaving Dad Steve Black with James Aldridge alongside. In fact, it's Steve's birthday this weekend. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or today, but happy birthday, old man, was the strapline that Callum went with. Not sure how Steve feels about that. On Instagram last night. So happy birthday, Steve. There's Robert Goff, Jez Rogers alongside. 9th overall here on the Rallynuts last season. A formidable performance. A man who knows the stages well. He's grown up in a rally family. He's spent his entire life around rallying. This old man, Richard Goff. We've got to stop referring to these rally dads as old men, haven't we? So yeah, Steve Black, James Aldridge in the Suzuki Swift Super 1400 car, leading the way in the Bronze Stars. The gap now back to Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, 15.8 seconds. Dale Glover, after the 6th stage, into 3rd place. David Smalley alongside. That's in the Alpha Sud that we talked about earlier. Then Will Banks and Matthew Badley into 4th, leading the 1400 crews. Dylan Fowler-Bishop has dropped right back in the seat and overall. Bronze Star battle, not entirely sure why. If anybody has any idea why Dylan struggled through this stage, do let us know. It's been a straightforward run for many of the competitors today. In fact, it's been anything but for some of them. Colin Steer says, great tidy lines from Higgins and Bond. Not shaken or stirred. Very good. Like what you did there. Rudy Lancaster, Guy Weaver in the RS 1800. Robert Fitzsimmons asking where Keith is on the leaderboard. I think he dropped down to... I mean, there aren't that many cars in the BRC leaderboard either, so he won't be that far down. He was down last but one after changing the puncture, so rally effectively over. Hello to Kevin Massey watching from Aberdeenshire. Neil Weaver cheering on. Joe Price. There's David Tomlin. Ian Beaumont alongside. Don't forget, if you want to follow the rally results for yourself, BTRDA rallyresults.co.uk is where you need to go for the BTRDA leaderboard. Results.djames.org.uk will get you the overall rally results for entries like this from Boyd Kershaw and Keegan Rees. Not registered for any championship this year, despite coming here as the runner-up in the Silver Star. 5th in the Gold Star in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Just out for selected events, just to keep their hand in and enjoy their rallying this season before hopefully another BTRDA campaign in 2025. Peter Bayliss, Paul Godden here. Tell you what, for the second rally on the bounce, Rally North Wales being the first, Adrian Hetherington has got Daniel Petrie alongside him, but that is not what is down on the British Historic Rally Championship entry list, which is incredibly frustrating, not least for Dan, who misses out on some of the action at least. So So one to watch for later on in Phil's coverage. Ewan Roberts Jr., Daniel Jones alongside in the Escort G3. Yeah, Michelle Petrie, you need to have a word and just get them to update those entry lists going forward so we can actually see that Dan's in the car. I did see Dan in service last night, so I assumed he was out, but then when I saw the entry list, I thought he must have been servicing, as he often does, of supporting another crew. Didn't get a chance to chat, unfortunately. I was in a rush when I saw him. Neil Matthews asking if I was sat in a red kite nest. You sound like blooming pterodactyls standing behind me. It's not. It's yeah, you see Tom Llewellyn and Will Atkins in the Weir Laundry Mark II. It's actually underneath the wind turbine, and we all said we haven't ever heard a wind turbine make quite so much noise before as this one does. That's a new one. I started a kite of red, a nest of red kites. What does it sound like? If it's getting on your nerves, imagine how it is for me. I'm sat under here, having to listen to this thing. It'll be haunting me. I'll be listening to it in my sleep. Dave Holmes is watching from the Temple Bar, waiting for Davo and Tom to come through. Stephen Roskell cheering on Neil Roskell, who's been going well today in the BRC field. Apologies to those of you wondering why we've not kept you up to date so much with the BRC and the BHRC leaderboards. This is the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series live coverage, and while our sponsors are very keen that we tell you the story of the rallies to give you the context of the championship, our narrative and our focus is very much with the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship crews. Phil Bramwell is live in the final stage of today. Haffron Main, 13.3 mile blast the end of the day. He'll bring you the Welsh Rally Championship coverage, but again showing as many of the crews as possible. John Kane, Mark Morris in that lovely looking Evo 3. We've seen one of those driven in anger this year in the Circuit Rally Championship in the hands of Wayne Labalestia. It's a cracking car to see out. As rally fans, you can't not like an Evo 3, and we smile every time it goes away with the, or comes into view in fact, with the popping and the banging from the anti-lag system, making its presence felt long before it appeared inside the camera. Michael McDade with Motorsport UK. Academy co-driver Harry Stubbs alongside in the Escort RS 1800, one of the British Historic Rally Championship crews on this year's Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally entry. Michelle Petrie pointing out that the crews are having fun now that the fog has lifted. Yeah, fog is a real nemesis, isn't it, for a rally driver, or any driver for that matter. And it was hellish foggy this morning. We optimistically thought, now a little lift before the cars come through. We got here, we had to get into the stage 2 hours early, so early start for us this morning, and those torrential, horrendously cold conditions didn't make it easy for us, that is for sure, but it is good that it's lifted, and I think we're having more fun, just like the drivers are now. I do like the conversation ongoing between how has producer Wayne managed to send a message when he's multitasking already with it? He can barely reply to me when I wave the microphone at him. But he's managed to reply to it. We're very close to the wind turbines. It's very windy and it's making a lot of noise. And John Petita said, it is in fact the lesser spotted Welsh windmill cuckoo. And now it's the height of the mating season. If it finds a mate, the tune will change to something by Tom Jones. It's not unusual, don't worry folks. Big thumbs up. I love that. That's why you guys are brilliant at this. You keep us entertained while hopefully we keep you entertained. I'll leave you to be the judges. Richard Hill, Patrick Cooper, for now keeping you entertained. Nice, neat and tidy, but coming off the bridge, hot and bunny hopping the back of that escort around. And the compressions on the stage. Hello to Mike Dent, started this morning early doors with a phone call, chatting to Mike on the way to the stages, and he's just woken up from his pre-night shift nap to tell us that the stages look smooth enough to run a clan through. Believe me, they were barely smooth enough to drive a Puma ST through at 20 miles an hour on the way into this stage, so got half a Clan Crusader in the back of the car anyway, in the shape of that set of mini lights that I bought yesterday from Graham Crompton, the imp specialist, only a few miles from here near Bulthwells. But I won't be driving a Clan Crusader for anything like this anytime soon. Wheeler, John Pick Events came 7th in the historic cruise on last year's Rallynuts. A good run here today, not registered for BTRDA points, but enjoying themselves. So Phil Bramhill is live over the jump at the top in Haffron, Maine, for the Welsh Rally Championship cruise. So you can leapfrog and enjoy the coverage through there and switch between the two. Perhaps no excuse though, because we were going to be taking you through to Gone 7 o'clock probably this evening with live rally coverage. So no excuse not to enjoy some rallying from hopefully the comfort of somewhere a little warmer than we are this afternoon. Because I've said it a few times now, I'm not going to get much sympathy when I get home from my wife, because moaning about being cold when I choose to do this is no good. So I may as well get some sympathy off you guys, because it is absolutely freezing out here. Paul Thompson, Josh Davison through in their escort. Hello to Jamie Forrest, the other half of the partnership we mentioned earlier with Roger Priestnall. And a man I am forever grateful for helping get me out the mud that I got stuck in on the RAC when we arrived at scrutineering on the Thursday before the rally. Hello to Martin Young as well. He's just tuning in. Apologies for the squawking in the background. It's a wind turbine. It's nothing more sinister than that. Colin Griffiths, Mark Morgan. Mark registered the co-driver championship points here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Oh hell, I always forget that my wife might be watching, and after saying that I wasn't going to get any sympathy for spending the day cold, I just got a laughing smiley from her. Just a little reminder that she is listening. Watch what you say, Woodford. If you notice, I did sort of measure halfway through that conversation what I said next, just in case I slipped up. Most patient lady in motorsport, most patient lady in rallying, that's for sure. My wife, I promise you. She only found out last night when I sent her a picture of a pile of mini light wheels in the back of the car that I was bringing something home with me that I didn't go with. I think if Will Banks and Matthew Badley and Nova had lent me Dennis the rally dog to take home, I might have redeemed myself somewhat. Yes, Will Gutting, Bob Stocko. I always say when I'm presenting rally coverage that if you get a chance, you should have a wander around the service area. A bit more difficult than Forest Rally because it's all a bit more spread out, and we tend to go with that on circuit rallies a lot more because it's close by. But if you ever get a chance to wander around the service area, or indeed a ceremonial start, do have a chat with Will Gutting and Bob Stocker. They are a proper pair of characters. It's always when that car comes into view at a stage end, you always know you're going to have a bit of fun. And at the end of the day, as the BTRDA motto goes, we all are here for a bit of serious fun, aren't we? Not registered for BTRDA points, but you can catch the story of the Welsh Rally Championship over with Phil Bramhill as we speak in the final stage of the day, as we continue correct seeded order through the main four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive field here. The BTRDA Gold Star, Silver Star, R2 Rally Cup and the various classes that make those up, including the Historic Cup as well. Phil currently on with the 1400s and H1, H2 historics in reverse seeded order in the final stage of today. 2 long stages, monsters stages, almost half the mileage of that 62 stage miles of the schedule here on today's Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally, just in these 2 last stages alone. Meherin Main that we're in now, joining up the 2 stages from earlier, and Havren Main over in Sweetland. Same again over where Phil Brammill is. Craig Jones, Ian Taylor in a beautiful Mark 1 Escort on the limiter, maxing out the revs up the hill, bouncing over the bridge parapet here. I'm trying to remember who it was that clumped the bridge last time we were here, Wayne. Can you remember? Dear me. And you're the encyclopedia of the 2 of us. Here is your Silver Star leader. Andy Davison, Tom Murphy, talking of characters. Another 2 right there. And a car which is synonymous now with the BTRDA. They were 4th in Silver Star last season. They'll be watching out for Steve Ward and Robert Goff when it comes to the times today. And they've got a new or freshly rebuilt engine in that Sunbeam, a more revvy engine, as Angie was telling me last night in service. He more enjoyed the torquey engine they had in before, but Tom was looking forward to the revs, just pulling the gears and keep pulling the gears until the revs don't rev anymore. There's Ernie Graham, our reigning historic champion here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. You know, he's used to a historic Mark 1 Escort where the indicator stalks are far closer to your knee than in a Mitsubishi Evo 10, but he still managed to catch the left-hand indicator in that Mitsubishi, as you can see going up the hill there. Won the English Championship as well in that Mark 1, and we will see the car, I think they're still running, aren't they, that took Ernie to the historic and English Championship titles last season in the hands of Will and Karen Graham. Just a little further down the entry. Chris Richmond and Ryan Sheep Jones, a pair that I've come to really enjoy watching pedaling. Hard to believe, isn't it, that that is a Road Rally Spec Mark II Escort. You hopefully have seen the video from Rally North Wales where they were busy stickering up all the graphics to go and do Rally Clean later on, which didn't go too well for them, but they've got a whole raft of road and stage rallies coming up, so that car, in Chris's words, is going to take a hammering over the next few weeks. But really good to see road rally competitors still competing on stage rallies, because back in the day when rallies like this featured as road rally events, I'm not sure the Severn Valley ever was a road rally part of the motoring news, someone correct me if it was, but rallies like this, and rallies took place around here in the motoring news series, and people would drive to and from the rallies as well in their cars. There wasn't as much trailering going on back then. Shout out to Brynmore Pierce, actually, who road rallying is a very difficult, if this is complicated to follow with the various leaderboards and permits, and I won't go back into that, don't worry, then road rallying is even more difficult to follow from an outside casual observer point of view. And Bryn Pierce did a great job of telling the story from inside one of the radio cars on the last one, like Road Rally Radio, I think he calls it. Really enjoyed tuning in for some of that, and was talking about the story that I'd brought up from the service park at the end of Rally North Wales in Welshpool, where Chris Richmond Hand and Pete Fenner were busy prepping the car along with the rest of the team for that road rally on the evening. These cars you're seeing now are part of the 208 Peugeot Rally Cup, part of the BRC. Robert Proudlong, Stephen Brown were the winners of our Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship R2 Rally Cup last season and have stepped up to the 208 Rally Challenge. Sad to lose them from the BTRDA, but great to see the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series providing such a great... I'm going to be blown off the side of this hill in a minute, as the rest of the media are, I think. Great to see the BTRDA providing such a fantastic pathway to other areas of the sport and other categories as they move up their rally career. Liam Clark, another great example of that. Alfie Hammond as well. Lewis Hooper moving up from the Rally First. Both those moving up from junior rallying into senior rallying into the R2s. And for me, and I am biased, but I'm also correct, the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship, and indeed the Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, two Premier Gravel and Asphalt Rally Championships in the UK, providing a number of different pathways through the sport, picking up where the F1000 Rally Club Junior Rally Championship leaves off, and where now the Mini Rally Challenge, which sponsors our special stage rally show on the first Friday of every month on specialstage.tv, is providing a great stepping stone to either of these series. John Goff and his team doing a fantastic job of growing the profile and the popularity of that mini series, which is very accessible as well. You go in the R50, normally aspirated cars with such a low budget. Tyres for the tarmac rounds as little as £32 with a special deal arranged through the championship. Fully prepped cars available from around £6,000. I've seen one for even less than that. And with rallying enjoying such a renaissance and such momentum at the moment, as you see Cian Caldwell, Liam Egan through in their 208 Peugeot Cup car. These cars sound naughty, don't they, with the anti-lag on the overrun on the exhaust. Yeah, with rallying enjoying such momentum at the moment, there's no better time to throw your hat in the ring. And do you know what? If you haven't got the finances or indeed the inclination to get inside a rally car, then you can get involved as a marshal or indeed as a number of roles within the BTRDA, or indeed at your local motor club. Motorsport UK putting a big emphasis on street car competition at the moment, which is all the various disciplines of grassroots motorsport, which you can compete in with a road car with minimal impact on the car mechanically or indeed on insurance premiums. So basically, no excuse, plenty of opportunities to enjoy rallying and motorsport at various levels at the moment, and that's a great thing to be a part of. Hello to Tim Sawyer joining me on the live stream, Mark Skinner, Damien Cole. When are we going to see you back in the forest, Damien? Is that your forest days done? Or we're going to see you back on the loose stuff, or indeed back on the sealed stuff? Quite good to get you back in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship for another campaign at some point. Give you a leaderboard update very shortly. Callum Graffin, don't forget, with Richard Crozier, I mentioned earlier, had a big off at the end of stage 2 while we were filming earlier today, sending that 208 challenge car end over end. I don't know if you can see on this coverage, probably can't see it close up, but the air vents on the roof of these cars are absolutely huge. They're like submarine periscopes coming off the roof. Brilliant reply, albeit a little delayed, from Dan Gibson, who owns and competes in one of the only actually logbooked and current competing Land Crusaders in the UK. You may have seen it on our coverage of the historic Rally Festival, and well, basically seeing Dan drive through the water splash at Weston Park convinced me never ever to do a water splash in my clan. But Dan has just put Mike Dent hold my beer after Mike said that these roads look smooth enough for a Clan Crusader. I could get behind that, Dan. Hey, I tell you what, producer Wayne, we're doing well with the Paul Woodford bingo today. We've done Clan Crusader a few times already. Normally only managed to get it in a couple of times. Hello to Ed James, watching along, supporting Paul Bonus and the Rallynuts team, but very much should be out in his Rallynuts micro kit car here in the 1400s, here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. And with Miles Chamberlain in the Rallynuts team Mark II Cortina. That's another Paul Woodford bingo that we haven't had for a while. Mark II Cortina. Need a few more of those on the stages, please. Now we're getting all this variety in historics. Corolla TE27s, lots of Avengers. And yet we've lost the Mark II Cortina, and indeed the Mark I Cortinas at the moment from the historics, haven't we? Where have they all gone? Max Hutting, Robbie Durant through in their Fiesta ST Max, joining us in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Series to score points at this second round, having not been here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally. Just want to do an update on the leaderboard and see where we're up to. Time starting to come through stage 7, and to remind you, Phil Bramhill is live and will be live through stage 7 as we go through into the evening in the final stage of the day. He's currently on the 1400s and historic field in reverse seeded order. Your last chance to see those, and the main field coming up shortly on the second special stage stream. Far be it from me to tell you to switch off ours and go to his, but we're all on the same team and we all want the same thing. So however you want to watch your rallying today, we are providing plenty of opportunities to do so. If you want to follow the main rally leaderboard, Matt and Bex have also got stage end as well for the historics and the BRC crews, and you can follow the leaderboards at results.djames.org.uk. So many ways to follow rallying at the moment, and so many ways to enjoy some rally action today from somewhere hopefully a little warmer than we are here at the side of the stage, underneath a very squeaky, squawky wind turbine, which sounds like it's quieting down a bit, but I might just have got used to it. So after this stage here in Meherin, Maine, Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer really have laid down a marker today. They lead the way in the Delta Salvage R5 Fiesta. Reigning Gold Star champion Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh alongside them in second place. But a fair way back, 42 seconds the gap after 6 stages today, with 13.5 miles to go. It won't change on merit, but anything could happen. That is a long stage, and let's face it, if anybody has had bad luck of late, and if anybody will be listening for every noise and watching out for every unruly rock at the side of the stage, Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer. I hope they will appreciate the potential to limit the potential for presenter's curse in my own phrase. Rob Dennis, Andy Boswell in the fight for the Historic Cup here, boosting the competition this season by entering the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. This is the race. Spooner up next. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link in third place at the moment in the V13 class, leading the way in the Evo. Daniel Sigurdsson and Asta Sigurdottir, impressive display of how to get used to a new, very fast rally car in that Rally 2 Fiesta in fourth place. And it's Scott Beattie, Parada Davies, Liam Clark, another pair, showing again that pathway through the BTRDA to be so successful and effective, and again showing just how talented he is behind the wheel and how good that partnership is working, that he's got on terms with that Rally 2 Fiesta after stepping up from the R2 last season, after taking second in the R2 Rally Cup here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. 6th place overall in the BTRDA crews at the moment. Patrick Naylor's creeping up the leaderboard with Ian Lawrence alongside in the B13 Evo, 2nd of the B13 crews, 7th overall on the BTRDA leaderboard, and he's got Peter Bayliss and Paul Godden for company, albeit doesn't really need to look too much into his rear view mirrors because the gap is 1 minute 27. That's your top 3 in B13, your top 8 on the leaderboard. Steve Black, James Aldridge, Nigel Jenkins, Karen Jenkins rounding out the top 10 after stage 6. A few more times to drop in through this stage, but giant-killing performances and impressive talent on offer here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. If you're just tuning in, welcome to our live coverage of the second round of the championship. It is the Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally, a rally celebrating 50 years in 2024. There's Tony Thompson and Callum Young feed in the throttle and pin that throttle going up the hill in the RS18. We are live on Special Stage. I'm Paul Woodford. I'm delighted you can join us wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whether you're keeping us on as acoustic wallpaper while you do something else, or whether rallying is front and centre in your household today, as it very much should be, of course. I know it is in mine. Back home. Phil Bramwell also live with the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship coverage. He's in the next stage from this one. We'll be leapfrogging all day. The mission brief being to bring you as much live rally action as we possibly can to go with your Saturday, whatever else you're doing, wherever else in the world it is. Phil's live right now with the historics and the 1400s in reverse seated order. He'll be ready for the main field, the four-wheel drives through very shortly, if not already. I haven't flicked onto his stream because I'm already multitasking, juggling lots of things. There is Gareth Bevan, Jordan Jones in the RS 1800, seated at the head of the historics and 1400 crews, but clearly a mistake, so being reseeded to go in with the main four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive field that you're watching now. The wind picking up, the rain returning. Thought we might get away this afternoon without being damp again, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that luxury. There's Will Graham, Karen Graham in the car that I mentioned earlier, that Ernie, in his Mitsubishi Evo 10 this season, took the historic Cup in 2023 with, as well as the English Championship. Beautifully prepared car. I'd be only too happy for somebody to step up to an Evo 10 and hand me the keys to that, to put a campaign together here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. Looks gorgeous, doesn't it, in its ermine white livery with its Uniflow-esque colour scheme. Shades of Roger Clark all over that Mark 1. Tell you what, I've never, or not for a long time, looked forward more to having the heaters on in the car on the way home. I thought we were done with heated seats and heated steering wheels for this season. Well, that was it. Yeah, quick check shows that Phil Bramwell is on still with the 1400s and the historic field in reverse seated order. Plenty of time to enjoy some action here in stage 6 before you join him. Gary Burgoyne saying, enjoying the coverage, but those firework noises are spoiling it. They're spoiling it for me too, mate. I'm underneath the wind turbine making firework noises. Sounding like I'm about to get attacked by a gaggle of pterodactyls. Eddie Lewis, Sean Cunniff, enjoying the switch from the Rally 2 Fiesta to the Mark II. And that is a beautifully prepared car as well. It was the car that I had to play with the sports tracking device on the Rally North Wales, pressing the that squawked like a wind turbine, didn't it? Like a flock of, what did Neil Matthews say, sat in a nest of red kites. Yeah, so yeah, apologies. John Petit, I love this. Sorry to pee on your chips, but the indicator stalk on a Mark 1 Escort is on the right-hand side. Yours sincerely, Anorak from Moulton, Northants. I didn't say he hit it with his right knee, his left knee, did I? You'll have to listen back after this as you see Mike Simpson and Dale Gibbons through the stage. I didn't say he hit it with his left knee. I said he'd put his left indicator on. Come on, I am all about the rally nerdery. You can Anorak off with me anytime you want to, but you've got to get it right. I'll be honest, I didn't know off the top of my head where the indicator stalk was in a Mark 1 Escort, but you're definitely more likely to catch a knee on it in that than you are in an Evo 10 Mitsubishi. However, Ernie Graham seems to be an expert at doing both. But I did enjoy that. Thanks for getting involved. Anybody who got involved in the coverage today goes into the draw, don't forget, to win one of our Money Can't Buy exclusive Rallying is Life t-shirts. I'm actually going to have a word with Chris Davies from Eastwood Drones. Come here, Chris, because you're one of the unsung heroes of our coverage ever since the RAC. And you guys have been working with us a lot longer than that, but during the RAC coverage ever since then, people always ask us, are the drones coming back out? You have so much fun with the drones, but just really quickly explain to me what the FPV drone thing is all about.
Oh, well, we don't do a lot of FPV drone on this.
You do it with the RAC and it was glorious.
We did do a little bit on the RAC. So the FPV drone is where I fly the drone wearing goggles, and I can see out the front of the drone, but that's all I can see. So
it's got a spotter with you, don't you?
That's right. I've always got Gavin with me. So Gavin's working with me today. We're not flying the FPV drone. We're using the dual operator drone today. Gavin's on the camera. But when we fly FPV, yeah. So Gavin's telling me when the car's coming, so I can frame it up. And it means we can get in quite close, but it's just not very good on windy days because the camera's not stabilised.
Anyone watching at home thinking, where are the drones then? Chris has been filming some stuff. You'll have seen some of the shots in the half-day edit that Chris put out. That was his work, and also you'll see it in the rally show as well. And also you've been covering some stuff for Ocean Price, haven't you?
Yeah, so we supply the footage to a couple of drivers. If any of the drivers want to get in touch, we've got access to all the special data as well. It's kind of how we pay for ourselves to be here. But if Wayne swings the camera around now, we might see the wind turbines and just how fast they're going.
Come on, producer Wayne, show us the wind turbines. He'll fall off the side of the hill if he actually points it right around to this one.
That's right, and that is now the reason why the drone's on the ground, because it is just a little bit too windy, and obviously safety's over.
I'm surprised they're running because they're meant to turn off, aren't they, when it gets too windy?
I mean, I'm no expert about wind turbines, but if that's what you study at weekends.
It's a bigger version of yours, isn't it, with a propeller like that? That's Chris Davies, Eastwood Drones, or Eastwood Media on social media, both those accounts, the most professional drone operators in the business and people who really do know how to fly drones on rally stages. So if you do need footage edits for your season, do get in touch with them. But as they'd popped up, I thought a quick chat was in order so that you start to get to know the characters behind the scenes here at Special Stage, because I'm the one that gets the privilege of telling the story, but I'm not always the one putting the hard yards in. Sam Mason, James Seymour second in our R2 Rally Cup today in the second round of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship behind, at the moment, Lewis Hooper, who is finally, I hope, well, I don't want to give him presenter's curse with a long final stage yet to go, but put those demons behind him from the opening round. The utter frustration when the throttle stopped working, and these electronic throttles on these modern rally cars. A fairly new challenge, although I do remember on Epping a number of years ago when Damien Cole's throttle stopped working on the Focus World Rally car, and that was my first eye-opening moment that actually we were moving towards a new technology and a new way of building rally cars that wasn't necessarily a good thing. A good old throttle cable is invariably a much more comfortable way to go, even if it's not technically a more reliable way to go. Andrew Stokes, Johnny Tad Evans. I can't see that car without thinking of the legend David Stokes, and without thinking of the really cool model that Wayne Goldring, our producer, has made of that car. There's that and a load of other custom rally cars that feature here in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship, available at rally-models.co.uk. It's all about plugs this afternoon, isn't it? But if you are into your rally car models, like most of us are, because we're just rally car nerds, then do check out rally-models.co.uk, because there's some really cool stuff on there, and I do think of it every time I see that. Scrapman Brown says, that turbine sounds like the whole episodes of One Man and His Dog. Everyone's really enjoying a bit of banter to go with these turbines, although they're not enjoying the turbine noise themselves. Andrew Fox, Jamie Lee Fox, their E30 BMW, soft suspension on that, bouncing their way over the bridge parapet there. Mark Weller says, Craig Jones, Ian Taylor going well, considering the clutch slave cylinder is faulty. Wow. Indeed, you're going to be trying clutchless changes on that one, aren't you, as often as you can to save it, get it back to the finish. Tell you what, the weather doesn't look any more appealing in the Sweetland Bowl where Phil Bramwell is right now. You know, it was actually okay for a little while back there, and it was nice blue sunny skies. The wind dropped a little bit, but then it's bitterly cold now, and we've lost the feeling of everything we own. Nick Dobson, Jonathan Turnbull through the 6th stage of this Rallynuts Severn Valley Stages Rally, round 2 of the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship.
Are you finishing here and heading off, or are you going to finish?
Just checking what times we have through Stage 7. Steve Black posting a time through, so we're not far off the end of the 1400s and the H1, H2 historics for the final time today, and then correct seeded order for, again, the final time today, the 4-wheel drive and the 2-wheel drive field through that you're seeing the tail end of here as far as the entry list is concerned. I don't mean that with any disrespect to any of the drivers currently. You'll see the front of that entry list back through the Sweetland stage with Phil Bramwell over the jumps. As we go into the closing stages of this rally, Philip Squires, Mick Squires in the escort, clearing the way for Colin Minton. Got Tim Green with him alongside Bonnie Papper, sitting this one out, watching from the Isle of Man. Bitterly disappointed not to be here and in the car. When you got the rally bug, there's nothing worse than watching someone else in your seat, as it were. And Bonnie, one of the Motorsport UK Academy co-drivers, as Nicky Griss was talking about earlier. So has done an awful lot so far in this season so far, and is probably one of the most well-travelled rally competitors we have in British rallying. You don't have to be an expert to know that that is Tim Pearcey and Steve Pugh, not Colin Minton and Tim Green. Tim from up near me in Yorkshire, Steve from near these parts here in Wales. And if you're not already friends with Steve on Facebook, his rally archive of photographs is simply wonderful. He often posts photos in response to something I've said on one of these live streams, and we end up having a proper rally car nerd off after the event on Facebook. But do look forward to seeing those come out. How good does that Allied Polymer livery Mark II of Lee Ashbury in? Couldn't quite see it as well in the fog earlier on stage 2. Remember Dave Watkins campaigning that actual works car. A few years ago, it was the Timo Mäkinen Mark I twin cam that he rallies at the moment, but he has a hand in preparing, re-preparing and maintaining some of the most famous works rally cars. LBX 942J, Pooh 505R, those cars, the Cossack, the Uniflow cars were in his workshop recently. It's a mouth-watering prospect, isn't it? I mean, I was born in 1984, but they were still poster cars for me. I still had pictures of those cars on my bedroom wall, and it's sad to think that rally fans now probably don't quite, new rally fans that is, don't quite, without being told about it, know the provenance of those cars. But I'll tell you what, that is what the whole point of the special stage rally stories series that we're in the middle of at the moment. We started with the MG Metro 6L4 40th anniversary. That was just a very short feature video just to whet your appetite for what lies ahead. We've got some incredible stories to bring you, stories that have never been told before, and stories that are told, what's the expression? Uncensored, without any pressures of being in the time that they happen. So they're told in full flight, as it were. Mike Broad, president of the BTRDA, a man who I deeply admire, and I don't think there is a single soul in rally who doesn't, is up first. Richard Goff will feature Phil Collins, we've already interviewed as well, as you see Jeff Cox and Colin Jenkins and their B11 escort doing a good job through stage 6 here. And we're also about to line up John Davenport and a couple of other very exciting names to go with that list. I know I'm name dropping, but you get to tune in and see them and experience these stories. Believe me, Mike Broad is the best rally storyteller in our sport. You're going to love that one. It's nearly ready, so look out for that soon. Specialstage.tv is where you'll find our Rally Stories series. It's also where you'll find all of our live coverage and all of our special features, our mini challenge rally shows featuring action highlights from this championship, the Protyre BTRDA Championship, the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, the Welsh Championship, the British Championship, the Historics, all of the one-off events we do, they're all on there. The Circuit Championship is every first Friday in the month. You'll see a new show, and the last one features the opening round of both this and the Asphalt Series, the Malcolm Wilson and the Northwest Stages, the Legend Fires Northwest Stages, as well as some action from the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship. So do check that out and wait gleefully by your devices for the Special Stage Rally Stories features to really get going, because we've got some great ones to bring you. David Dobson, Brian Hodgson in there, unarched mark. I don't know why I can't not mention that it hasn't got big wide arches every time that escort comes through. It used to be a thing. We used to laugh about that a lot. Just looking at the times for stage 7, as you see Steve Magson, Steve Gilby, flat to the floor in that Mark 1 Astra. Talking of wide arches, just looking at the times for stage 7, nothing for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins yet. Admittedly, they are the last car through, being the top seeded 1400 in that part of the field. But we've had Steve Black's time for a little while now. Nothing from Nigel and Kaz Jenkins just yet. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything at all. We lost Perry Gardner, Jack Bowen, who stopped in stage 4. Dan O'Brien, Mark Glenister, we didn't even see them through. They retired with a turbo issue after the first stage in the Fiesta World Rally car. We know about Vivian Hamill, Andrew Grennan rolling the car in the first stage. Scott Renshaw, Tom Spencer in the Citroen DS3 R5. Gutted not to see that through as well. They stopped after the first stage. Trevor Gamble, Phil Kenny as well. Gunnar Carl Johansson, Isaac Gudjonsson, another of our Icelandic competitors. Clutch issues after stage 5, the one before this. Simon Rogers, Aid Williams, we saw them through stage 2 in the yellow ex-Jari Matti Latvala Evo 6. They stopped in stage 4. Steve Hollis, Tim Curry in the V6 engine Golf R, same for them. They were stage 3. Dan Moss, Sammy Allen are out from V13. Guy Gittins, Thomas Brimblecombe, Greg Mills, Andrew Sankey, the list goes on. The 206 Super 1600 of Damien Elliott Thomas, talked about how reliable that car had been since it was built. Gave him presenter's curse, didn't I? Not today, it's not. Dylan Fowler Bishop, right, so we saw that he tumbled down the 1400 order. That is disappointing. They've obviously had an issue there. and they'll be going no further. Steve Ward, Phil Sander alongside on your screens. 2.4 litre. The bark of that engine really cutting through the rolling mist and weather which is creeping in now. You can't actually see the wind turbines. We can barely see the one that's directly above us making all of that noise. The weather really is coming in here in Meheran. So that explains why Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans dropped down in the 1400s. Disappointing for them. Third place was looking like it was going to be theirs. But Nigel and Kaz Jenkins do not appear on that list. So hopefully it's just taking a bit of time for their stage time to come through from stage 7. Simon Smith, Andrew Lawson. The special stage team back in action tomorrow over at Anglesey. They've got a 2.5-hour drive over to Anglesey tonight for the final round of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. Tomorrow, Phil Bramall on microphone duty for that one. So do tune in if you fancy some rally action for your Sunday. Something completely different to today's BTRDA rally. Of course, there's Tom Naylor, Tom Bishop. Trying their hand at circuit rallying in between seasons and then coming back out here on the gravel in the Protyre BTRDA Rally Championship. I can see from your comments that these turbines really are winding you up. We are really struggling. This wind is, you can probably hear it on the cameras. I'm actually holding down some of the equipment here, so apologies if the sound isn't great, what with the squealing of the turbines and the wind. But if we'd done a time lapse over there on the hills that you can see ahead of you now, you can't even see the turbines on the left of those hills at all. We have completely lost them, and along with the wind, I think you might lose me shortly because we're going to blow away. Fair play, I've got to say it, we haven't said it so far enough, but fair play to all of the marshals stood out here in these conditions, and they've all had a big smile on their face. They've all been extremely accommodating. We've had to squeeze our cars and vans into places. We've had to take down box junctions to get into our filming locations, and we appreciate the efforts and the good nature and the fun of all of you. It really is appreciated, and you guys are the real heroes of today and every rally that we do, and the organisers as well, who have put together an absolutely stunning rally here for the 50th anniversary of the Severn Stages Rally. You can actually see, I don't know if I've ever seen fog rolling in quite so fast as I'm seeing it here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. You can actually see it. This is like David Attenborough combined with special stage, isn't it? Wildlife on one. We've got pterodactyls and the wind turbine. I'm in a kite full of a nest full of red kites. And we're